Hello and welcome to this video where I'm going to introduce the VoiceCheap tool to you from A to Z. I'm going to show you exactly how to use it along with all the different features it has to offer. And the idea here is to guide you step by step so that you can really get the hang of it and start using it just like a pro. So the very first thing that you need to do is of course to go directly to the website, which is app.voicecheap.ai, in order to create your own account. Once you have filled out the form and you have signed up, you should see a page that looks just like this one. So it has a kind of onboarding process with several different steps for you to follow. So for the purpose of this tutorial, you can simply exit the onboarding process just like this. And then you are going to have an interface that is going to be the VoiceCheap home screen with your different projects, with your YouTube channels, as well as the various latest YouTube videos from the VoiceCheap channel itself. Now, in order to create a translation, you will see that. All you have to do is go either right here on the sidebar by clicking on Create a Project, or over here where you can also have access to your entire video history. You also have the API, which will be available very soon, and your settings to take a quick look at the settings. So you have your profile here, you can manage your various subscriptions and your invoices. Here you have a team, so if you are in a team or if you have a team with people inside that you can invite and which is accessible starting from the beginner plan, here you have your various accounts. So you can connect a YouTube channel or a TikTok channel, coming soon an Instagram channel too. You have a calendar because you can also schedule your videos. I'll show you that in a moment. And here you have your statistics, so all the performance data for your various YouTube and TikTok channels. Here you can customize the interface language. In the customization section, you can also disable notification sounds when a project is finished, a translation, etc. You can modify the brand vocabulary. The brand vocabulary feature allows our system to recognize much more easily the rare words that belong specifically to your brand. For example, let's say VoiceCheap. It's a fairly rare word and it is not really in the common vocabulary. And so putting it right here will allow our software to detect it much more easily. You can also customize the translation as well as the overall translation style. You can provide specific instructions so that the translation follows a certain tone. For example, it could be a bit more childish or perhaps a bit more serious. You can use a specific vocabulary of your own. It is really up to you. It all depends on your particular niche and the specific needs of your business. Here, you have the notifications that you receive when your projects are finished, which you can disable or enable as you wish. And here you have the different perks that are available with the subscriptions. So these are discount codes for our partners. These are platforms that allow you to improve your productivity and are highly complementary to VoiceCheap. To get back to the translation, you need to start on the project creation page. So you can import a file. The maximum today is 60 gigabytes and 2 hours. This will depend on your current subscription. You can also import any type of link such as YouTube, Google Drive, TikTok, Instagram, X, and even a direct link, for example, a link where your video is stored. However, it must be public so that our software can access it. For this example, I'm going to take a video, I will post it here, and then I click on Continue. Normally, it depends on your connection, but it is going to take a few seconds to download the file. Okay, that is great. So right here, these are going to be the project creation settings. So the source language, which you can leave on, detect automatically because it works very well. Right here, you can choose one or several different languages to use. I'll pick Japanese, Italian, and Spanish. This button lets you create presets for recurring languages, so you can save time as shown here. I just have to click on Use this preset and it will automatically load the languages. This allows you to go a little bit faster. Next, you check that the project name is to your liking. Here, you can preview your video to confirm everything. And here, you have optional parameters that are completely and totally non-mandatory. Right here, you can, just as I have shown you previously, edit your brand vocabulary, meaning the various words and terms that are unlikely to be recognized by the system. Here, we can see, for example, VoiceCheap or specific AI terms like ChatGPT and so on. Here, you can also import an SRT file, which will then replace the original transcription of the video itself for you. This can be useful in certain cases, even though we will always recommend that you continue using our own transcription system, which is very, very accurate and is highly optimized for this specific type of project. Right here, you can filter the audio, or in some cases within the videos, it can happen that certain whispers or some fairly low noises might actually alter the transcription, and in that case, you can choose to set a specific limit for it to avoid those issues from occurring in your project. For instance, if you set it from 2 up to 5, it is actually not going to transcribe all those very faint sounds in the video, such as breaths or whispers, if you don't want them transcribed. If everything looks okay, you can simply go ahead and create the project and it will appear at the top right or otherwise in your project history. Once your project has been created, you can click right here to access it. It is then going to ask you directly to choose your specific parameters. So they are going to be divided into 3 different parts. So the dubbing settings, the voices, and the translation instructions. Let's start with the dubbing settings. So the first option that's enabled by default is to keep the background noise. This includes music, laughter, applause, and crowd noise, basically everything that isn't the voice. Depending on your specific use case, such as a podcast, it might be useful not to keep them as background noise in the final version. You can also add subtitles in this specific case. These are very precise Netflix-style subtitles in black and white. You can choose to either enable them in the target language, which in this case is Japanese, or you can choose to keep them in the original language. Right here, you have a method for the isolation of the voices. When you activate the voice cloning feature, you can choose the specific way in which the voice will be cloned. So, the default method is the studio mode. Since I am currently recording my voice in a studio, it is going to give a bit of that very professional quality, which is most of the time recommended in order to get the best quality that is possible for you. But in some cases, for example in vlogs or in videos where you want to keep that realistic feel by getting as close as possible to what you have in the original video, you can activate the realistic mode. You have a bit more information right here if you would like to go a bit further into the details. In general, I am always going to recommend the studio option because the realistic version can keep certain artifacts and flaws from the original voice, as it really tries to stay as close as possible to the original sound of the recording itself, capturing everything. Plan. The flow is very continuous, refining for Netflix quality, natural, idiomatic, technical, but accessible. Right here, you have a new feature that allows you to keep the original voices. For example, you've all seen a documentary where you hear the voice of the person speaking in the background, and it's basically... Next, as for the voices, you have 3 parameters. The first one, by default, is the voice cloning option, so it will clone all of the voices. In the video, you can choose which specific setting you want for the voice cloning. Now, these are the default settings, which are very, very good and are recommended. In most of the cases, you can play around with it depending on your needs. If you need to get a little bit closer to the original voice or to have a little more stability, certain settings give advantages and disadvantages, so it's up to you to see. And you can also activate a setting to avoid anything that is a reproduction of the accent. You can keep the default settings as they are for now. Right here, we have a voice library. Today, we have about 60 voices, primarily in French or English, in different genres, ages, and use cases that you can choose and listen to. Right here, you can also import your own audio files in order to create a personalized voice for yourself. This can be very useful if the audio quality is not good, or if you want to add a voice that is not in the video nor in our library. Right here is the last part. These are the translation instructions. I am going to recommend that you write these in English. This will allow you to choose the specific direction in which you want the translation to go. So whether it's a bit more professional, friendly, or even childlike, it is up to you. Once you have chosen your parameters here, you can then see the full transcription of the video. The translation isn't available yet, of course, because you haven't started the translation. You can see in orange some words that are likely to be incorrect. For example, here it's probably kiabi that I should have put, for instance, in the brand vocabulary, which would have been correctly detected. And here you have the words in red, which are very likely to be incorrect and that you must pay attention to. I always recommend a quick proofread, for example, to go faster. You can set it to 2 times, 3 times, 4 times speed. Read through quickly, see if there are any typos. It happens very rarely, but if you want to have perfect quality, I always recommend it. Right here, you have various actions to add a new language. For example, in this specific project, you can replace certain words. Instead of editing them all manually, you can modify them all right here in this section of the tool very easily. You have some keyboard shortcuts available to be more productive. You can remove a participant from the video. It happens, so it is going to remove all the segments of that person there. You can also delete the project. Right here, you have various actions to modify the timestamps of the video. Essentially, what we are looking at here is simply the moment when a segment starts and the moment when it ends. You can also change the speaker and perform various actions such as adding a brand new segment or merging them together. You can navigate through the video directly via the timeline right here, and very soon you will be able to shorten or lengthen the segments. Maybe by the time that you are watching this video, you can access a feature that allows you to select a moment in the video that you don't want to translate at all and keep just as it is. If you look closely on the right, you have several segments. So this is the original video. Here, this is the translated video that will appear after we start the translation. Here, this will be the video with lip sync. So lip synchronization to sync the lips in the video with the audio in the video to get an ultra realistic result. And here, once it's all finished, you'll be able to download your video or export your SRT file. Let's go, we're starting the translation. After a few minutes have passed, the translation is complete and you have several new options available to you. So you can simply, of course, watch the video translated into Japanese. In this specific case, you can directly access this part of the segment by clicking on this little play button here, and you can also choose to regenerate it if you wish to do so. Let's say that in some very rare cases, it might turn out that the translation of this specific segment does not suit you. You can, for example, modify the original text, which will then lead to the modification of the translation. And you can also block the translation of this segment entirely if you wish to do so quite easily. Let's say that you want a very specific translation for this particular segment. You can activate the segment editing feature here, which will allow you to block the translation entirely. It is always recommended not to enable this feature in order to maintain the best possible quality, because we are going to adapt the translation so that it perfectly fits the context, the voice speed, the speaking time, and so forth. The new option here will be to activate the lip sync feature. You have several different options available. The default function, which is the lip sync, let's say the classic or the normal version, which allows you to have very high quality, today costing 4 additional minutes, and you have a pro option that will provide a truly professional quality. In terms of the lip sync, it is currently the best quality on the market. It takes a bit longer and it costs a bit more, but it is the best quality that you can find today. Right here, you also have 2 very important features. Below the video player, you have a feature that allows you to add dynamic subtitles to your video as well. Dynamic subtitles are subtitles, a bit like this, not at all like Netflix. It's really something dynamic. With emojis, they'll move around. They're going to be dynamic. You can also activate zooms. We call them magic zooms, which will simply zoom in on the video to make it a bit more engaging during the important moments. Of course, you can also add B-rolls, so they're simply videos that will illustrate your points. To make the video more engaging, you can remove the silences and also the bad takes. And here, in this little button at the top, you can choose the style of subtitles that you want. We have about 20 of them. The other option is going to be Smart Publish. So Smart Publish is an option that allows you to publish your videos easily. As you know, here you translate your videos. Maybe you have a YouTube channel or a TikTok channel. And when you translate your videos, the normal way of doing it is that you go to every channel, you upload the video, you change the title, the description, you have to switch channels, log out, and so on. Translating them manually is very, very long, and it's a real pain. JSON, JAW, variants. At VoiceCheap, we created this new feature to let you publish your translated video directly from the interface, avoiding all those back and forth steps and annoying things like translating the title and description, for example. We built this VoiceCheap feature to let you publish translated videos directly from the interface, skipping the back. Right away, the software recognized the language and automatically selected the VoiceCheap channel in Japanese. From there, you can then make your own choice. So, of course, if you want your video to be private or public, right here you have a feature that can generate a title optimized for SEO, or you can simply import a video, for example, in its original language, and it will directly translate the video title for you. And you will see that the description is also directly imported into the system at the same time. So you can either publish it just like that. So in a few seconds, you have your video translated and the different information translated, but you can also import your thumbnail. Of course, you can also translate it. Just imagine importing an original video or a thumbnail right here. It will directly translate the text within the video for you. It keeps the thumbnail's layout, but only translates the text while carefully maintaining the original font, the color, and the size. It is a very useful and truly interesting option. You can also schedule your video publications over time. Pick the specific date and time. Once that is done, you can move on to the different languages. And there you go. In just a few minutes, you have published 10 videos in 10 languages on your 10 channels. And if everything went well, you can simply download your video download the audio, copy the link, share it, export the SRT files or your video with subtitles or lip sync. That was all for learning the basics of VoiceCheap, and I really hope that you enjoyed it. Please feel free to like and leave a comment with your thoughts. We will see you again very soon for more tutorials.